If you've typed this question into Google, I want you to know something. You're not being dramatic and you're not alone. The honest answer that most people in the admissions world don't want you to know is it depends. And rather than just leaving it there, I want to actually show you what it depends on. By the end of this video, you'll have 5 variables and a decision framework you can apply to your own situation. So you can stop searching for a universal answer and start building your own. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Caitlin, an Oxford MBA and admissions consultant who has helped hundreds of students win interviews and offers to attend all of the top business schools in the world. Here's something worth saying before we get into the numbers and the variables. Graduate school and higher education broadly used to serve a very specific social function. It was society's way of giving young people structure, a direction, and a credential that more or less guaranteed a path forward. You went, you studied, and you graduated, and the world more or less knew what to do with you. That was the deal. That deal has changed significantly. The credential alone no longer implies that the outcome of you getting a high-paying job at a great firm is likely. AI is reshaping hiring, visa policy is shifting, and the salary premium that used to make the math automatic is now something you can no longer assume. And the idea that you can use a graduate program to explore what you want while someone else provides the structure has become an increasingly expensive proposition. That doesn't mean that graduate school is a bad bet. That means it has to be a considered bet. So let's talk about how to consider it properly. The wrong question is a master's degree worth it? Because that's not personal to you. The right question is the master's degree worth it for me given my career goals, my financial reality, the point I am in my career, the kind of person I am, and what's going on in our world? Those are 5 questions embedded in one, and they map almost exactly to the 5 variables that I want to walk you through. So let's go. Variable number 1 is the program to goal fit. This one is the most important variable and the one that many applicants get backwards. The question isn't whether the program is highly ranked. It's whether this program that you're considering will open the specific doors that you are wanting to walk through. For example, a top MBA for a pivot into consulting in New York could be a good fit for someone, whereas somebody else who's looking to return to a family business in Southeast Asia might not be as good a fit for that program despite having the name on their resume. While it may increasingly matter less in the future, you still want to look at employer recruiting relationships. You also want to consider the alumni network density for your target industry and geography. So the way that you can find out this information is first by reading the employer reports. So most MBA programs will have these available as a PDF that either you can just open or download. Or if you don't have that information, go to LinkedIn and search for alumni who are working in the industry and at the employers that you would love to join. And I would encourage you to actually reach out to those people and ask them about their pathway from the MBA to this employer, and that will teach you what you need to know about the realities of the market and these hiring companies. And I can tell you that that research is never wasted. Now, you don't need to have your entire career mapped out before you begin the process of deciding whether to go to graduate school. What you do need is a working hypothesis. a direction you're genuinely exploring. So I can tell you that in practice, when I'm working with my students, we are doing the career thinking and school research simultaneously. I actually have a full video that walks you through developing your career narrative so you can build out that working hypothesis. So I will link to it here. Variable number 2 is debt load versus expected salary delta. This is the most quantifiable of the variables, and so I want you to actually do the math. You need to consider the entire program cost by adding tuition, living expenses, and the year or years of foregone salary. And then you need to compare that to the financial resources you're bringing to the table for the master's degree, whether that's fully funded by your company or your own resources or your family's resources, or if you need to be taking out loans and how much you would need to cover. Okay, and then you look at these numbers and you can expect a certain salary increase over 5 years. So what does that realistic number look like? And you compare that and you do that math and figure out how long would it take me to pay off my loans, to take care of this debt that I have from this master's program if I were making a realistic increase in salary. Now there's an emphasis on realistic. And also I'll add another important nuance. You want to be sure that you're running your numbers, not someone else's. So if you are, for example, an international student applying to a US university, make sure you're taking the tuition for international students, the one you would have to actually pay. Variable number 3 is opportunity cost. Now this is separate from foregone salary and people underestimate it. So what are you actually giving up by going? Maybe that's 2 years of career momentum or promotions or startup equity or the relationship capital that you've built at your current employer. For someone who is 28 and has a strong upward trajectory in a field that they want to stay in, that cost is real and significant, especially in an uncertain economy. Or for someone who is stuck, underpaid, or actively trying to change industries, that cost may be close to zero. So you need to know which situation you're in. Variable number 4 is personal development. Now, this one is harder to quantify, but it's real. Some people genuinely need the environment that a great master's program provides, the network immersion, the international exposure, the structured career pivot, and the confidence that comes from being in a room full of people pushing at a high level. Others would grow equally or more through 2 years of real world experience. For example, I have an uncle who is a very successful businessman. He went to get his bachelor's degree in philosophy and never went to get a master's degree. So his personal development didn't come through the academic environment. So neither path is wrong, but be honest with yourself about which person you actually are and whether the academic environment would help you to grow. For me personally, I wanted greater international exposure. And I wanted to be surrounded by people who were pushing the boundaries of what was possible in their industries. And I can tell you that the Oxford MBA definitely delivered on that front. We had incredible people in our class. We had an Olympic gold medalist. We had impressive bankers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, and social entrepreneurs who were all pushing the boundaries of what was possible in their unique ways. Variable number 5 is external risk and timing. Now, this is a variable that nobody controls, but I think that ignoring it does people a disservice. The job market shift, visa policy changes, AI is actively reshaping what employers want and are willing to pay for. You are making a bet with incomplete information, and the framework I've just given you helps you to make the smartest bet possible, but it's never going to remove the risk that is inherent in a bet. So here's how to use all of this. You want to ask yourself the following 5 questions and answer them as honestly as possible. Question number 1 is, do I have a working hypothesis for my career and where I want to go, and is this program serving that direction? Question 2 is, have I done the debt to salary delta math with realistic numbers, and does it work? Question 3 is, what am I giving up by going? And am I at a point in my career right now where the cost is worth it? 4 is, am I someone who genuinely needs this environment to grow? And 5 is, given everything that I cannot control over the next 3 to 5 years, am I comfortable with making this bet? If you can answer yes to at least 3 of those with honesty, then you have a real case for pursuing an MBA or specialized master's pathway. If you're in the middle of this decision right now, I'd love to help you think it through. So I'm going to link to my narrative video here, which is going to be a great starting place for you to work on the career clarity part. And if you want to talk through your specific situation, then I'm going to put a link in the description below so that you can find out ways of working with me. If this was useful for you, then please consider subscribing. I make videos every week with honest advice about graduate admissions. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.